This is what sold in my eBay store August 27th through September 2nd. We paid $4 for this pitchfork 3 times. My dad says that is for hay, and with more times they are for manure. So this one sold for $46. A person sees these all the time, these Singer buttonhole attachments. I don't believe we paid anything for this one, and it sold for $25. This is the straw purse from the Barbie Plantation Belle outfit. I sold it for my friend, and it sold for $38. Paid $1 for these Birkenstock clogs. Looks like they have the Papillo on them, and they sold for $38. Another little Barbie outfit, and this one sold for $40. We don't remember where we got this belt. It's fairly worn and has the star cutouts. And this one sold for $21. Here's just the end of the manure fork without the handle, and sold this one for $16. Sold this Shimano reel for $18. Paid $4.50 for this jerry can. Some of these are for water, some for gas, and they seem to sell pretty well. This one sold for $38.25. Paid 50 cents for these women's Georgia boots. Don't know too much about them, but they're in pretty good shape, and they sold for $36. Can't quite find what we paid for this, but this is a Rain King sprinkler by Sunbeam, and it sold for $41. Paint chips were left over from one of my projects for an epoxy floor, and they sold for $10. We bought this not really knowing what it was. It's a hay tongs for a barn, and it was a bear to ship. Paid $9 for it, and it sold for $70. This is a holiday rod, not the top of the line, and it sold for $13. Bought a whole mixer with attachments for $3, and I've been parting it out. This is from a Sunbeam Mix Master, because I used to have one. I recognized them, and they sold for $14.50. These are dough hooks. I paid about 50 cents for these flute books. I figured somebody would be looking for flute books. And the 4 of these, they sold for $17. I pay about a quarter piece for silverware. That looks a little blurry, doesn't it? These are a Canoe Muffin by Eco Eterna, and these 6 sold for $25. Here's from a John Deere toy tractor, and these sold for $15. My dad gave me these to sell. I don't know what he paid for them. They're Ferragamos, kind of plain, and they sold for $21. I buy these milk crates quite a bit. You can usually get $25 for them. This one I think I took an offer for $23. $4 for these this pair of end tables. They look like mahogany or cherry, but they are actually Formica, which means they're not very worn. And they finally sold for $47. The legs unscrewed, and they kind of fit together, the 2 tables, but they were still pretty big to ship. That's all for this week.